Hello and welcome to this feature interview. I'm Emily Carrier. There is a new project on Emory and Henry's campus designed to aid students in pursuing their passions from the moment they begin their education at our institution through their graduation. It's a project at the forefront of President Jake Schrumm's to-do list, so he put a very capable woman in charge of getting it started. Joining me on the Allen set today is Director of Project Ampersand, Dr. Tracy Lauder. Dr. Lauder, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, to begin, just explain for me, what is Project Ampersand?
That seems to be the question, and we are still formulating that. We're working on writing a mission and being sure we have all the language we need in place, but essentially Project Ampersand is a new initiative, as you mentioned, that President Schrumm wanted, based out of a strategic planning group that met last year. It wanted a big idea, kind of how to package what we do here. And it's basically, as you said, connecting students' passions with the knowledge they gain in the classroom and helping them apply that to real world issues and problems. One of the things Project Ampersand hopes to do is just elevate what we do already by providing infrastructure that will help fund and resource and make things easier for students and their faculty mentors. And then on the other side, communicate what our students are doing in bigger ways. So that might be through fundraising and development work, through recruiting new students who would thrive here, and also just through more public relations work, helping public relations do their job and communicating the great things we do here.
So when did talks of this big initiative begin?
It's the beginning of the 2014-15 school year. There was a large group of about 24 people that President Schrumm put together. So there were Board of Trustees members, alums, students, 4 faculty reps, a lot of people in staff positions. We had a consultant come in. We had 3 day-long retreats where we talked about what it is we do here, what we do well, what we'd like to do more of and better. President Schrumm wanted to use that to kind of lead the way with a lot of these external efforts. There was also the group reconvened in the summer as they presented this idea to the Board of Trustees last summer.
And so you were on these retreats. I want to talk about your role in this project. He has named you as Director of Project Ampersand.
We've been using the title coordinator for now, so yeah. The title wasn't as important to me as the work that I was doing. So really I am coordinating efforts. So I'm having lots of discussions, lots of one-on-one conversations with people who are interested in being a part of this or have an interesting project with a student and how does this fit in. Having conversations with some small groups. I've talked to everyone from the student government president several times. We're going to do some student focus groups. We have a couple small working groups on various facets of things going on, individual faculty. I'm going to meet with executive council, the vice presidents next week, talk to the faculty. So a lot of conversations going on.
And we had some conversations before the interview began, and you told me there are some students that Project Ampersand kind of already is an example of in their lives. Talk to me about that. How are students kind of already involved with this?
Well, when we've been talking we have a steering committee that's been talking about how do we extend this campus-wide. And by that also meaning extracurricular, co-curricular activities, athletics. How do we look at students as kind of the whole person? How do we help them connect all those things they're learning in various facets and be able to get out of here and say, this isn't just what I know, look what I've done. And so we have students that come in from the get-go and they're like, this is my passion, not unlike you, this is what I want to do, here's the things I want to accomplish. But more often we have students come in that kind of know what they want to do or have no idea. And Emory and Henry, not unlike a lot of liberal arts schools, are a great place for that to happen. We're actually going to be hiring 2 project advisors that would be working with students primarily in first year to help them figure out what those passions are, make connections across campus to different faculty mentors or staffs or offices to begin seeing, I'm learning this in class, or let me take a class here because I think that would connect with a passion and some things I'd like to do.
So this project not only will help students, but it's also going to open up jobs.
Well, we think, increasingly we hear, and that's the liberal arts education has always been this way. It's not so much that you know things as much as what have you done with the knowledge that you have. At Emory and Henry, we've already done a great job of doing that. Students are able to do that. We want to do more of it. We want to talk about more of it. And we want to make it easier for students. You know, I have a dream that there'll be a funding line for students who need resources to travel to venues to present their play or their biology research, or that they need test tubes or cameras, whatever that is, to do their work, that we are able to support that better.
Well, and this project has moved you from Miller Hall over to Wiley. Was that a strange move for you?
It's been a very weird January. I was in Miller for 10 and a half years. I do a lot of work in Wiley Hall with administrators now, so it's been convenient, but the lack of student activity in my life is a very different for me. But it's an interesting phase, and I feel like I'm still doing good work for students and with students. I'm still teaching, and yeah, it's just a new thing, and I'm embracing the challenges.
Well, I also wanted to ask you, Dr. Lauder, Project Ampersand has been kind of a bit ambiguous. You said that's the big question. What is it? Is there anything like this at our peer institutions that we can compare this to, or is it just a whole new idea?
No, I think the big trend in higher education right now, you hear jargon terms like project-based learning, experiential learning, engaged learning. I think increasingly in higher ed, particularly small liberal arts schools, we're looking at not just testing students on what we're teaching them out of a book, but how do we get them involved. And with this new generations of students, not unlike you, but also the group coming up behind you, they want to do stuff. And they don't want to just read a book and take a multiple choice test on it. And it does prepare them for the job market, being able to say, here's what I've accomplished already. And employers want to see that.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a few students' names before our interview began that took these projects before Project Ampersand began. And if you wouldn't mind walking me through kind of their college careers and how Project Ampersand could have maybe enhanced that.
Yeah, well, and one of the examples that just happened to be was Dylan Johnson, who's our student government president, and he and I have just had some recent conversations. Dylan started out in business. He loved his first year seminar advisor, his Transitions 1, but they didn't really talk a lot about passions and where to head next. Acclimated to college really well. Was in business, but got really excited about some things going on in an economics course, and a professor there really mentored him on kind of what he felt passionate about and how that played out in economics. Ended up in sports management because he liked athletics, and found a faculty mentor there. Ended up taking a philosophy course and found a mentor there, and recently last summer got a huge grant to fund a 9-month project on coaching ethics, and plans to use that to help get him into graduate school. So that's kind of that circuitous path I think we're very good at. And one of the mass commenters I had talked about in some of our earlier meetings with the planning committee was Becky Sharkey, who was here. She knew she wanted to be in journalism education and actually did several projects. She created a training manual for high school yearbook advisors, and she went into local schools in Southwest Virginia and worked with training high school teachers on how to be yearbook advisors. Often they come in and they kind of don't have a background in that. I think we could have, knowing what she came in with or knowing where her passions were, elevated those, created more projects, got her to venues where she could show that off even more. And I know she has a project now. She'd like to come back to the college with the National Yearbook Company and do a 3-year training cohort for rural Southwest Virginian yearbook advisors who aren't trained in that, have them come in 3 summers in a row, do some work, go back and do it, and kind of support each other and find that. That's the kind of thing that Emory and Henry could do well, and it's also good with getting our name out there.
So Project Ampersand, in kind of a nutshell, is support, funding, kind of a pathway, encouragement, research, all those big
and promotion of what we do, yeah.
Well, it's very exciting, Dr. Lauder. Thank you for coming and explaining this big project.
I'm trying. Thank you.
Well, I look forward to seeing how this kind of evolves in the coming months.
Sure.
This has been your EHCTV feature interview with Dr. Lauder. I'm Emily Carrier.